Mr. Shibulal and myself, we both belong to the same place of Alapi, and probably this is the first time that I'm seeing him physically. Okay, so I think it takes time, it takes destinies to meet someone. In fact, when he had just quit or stepped down as the CEO of Infosys, I had written to him, and I later came to know that, the letter was not delivered because he had quit as the Infosys CEO. Before we started off, I had a small chat with him, and he said, in most convocations across the world, there is a lot of fun element, and it's a fact. If you see the convocation ceremonies of most of these things, there is this traditional system of throwing the hat, so on and so forth, and I think a bit of leisure and a bit of humor will have to be involved. So that is one of the reasons why most of my questions will not be centered on the academic part or something else, but certain things which are there for all of us to read in the net, things which not many of us are familiar with. So probably he is the one who has to say whether it is right or wrong. 41 years after co-founding Infosys, now when you sit on a chair like this, what is it that goes through your mind? Is there a single day on which you have not uttered the word Infosys?
So, I think the word, when I think of Infosys, the first thing which comes to my mind is luck. Honestly, luck. Because in 81, when we started our journey with Infosys, there were many other people who tried to do this. Entrepreneurship was not very common, but there were other people trying to do it. There are many people who were trying to do it. And when I look back, we were the only one who were lucky enough to survive. So when I think of Infosys, of course, you are very proud of what Infosys has achieved. I have achieved, all that is fine. But the one word which I always keep in mind is luck and gratefulness. See, Infosys was not built by 7 people. It was built by thousands of people like this. We used to go to colleges, recruit these young people, bring them into the campus, tell them that, this is your company, you please work hard, 7 by 24, months after months. So thousands of people have put their sweat and blood to build this organization. So I think the things which come to my mind is luck and gratefulness. And and of course I'm very proud of what Infosys has achieved, but this is what I always keep in mind. That's why even today, I get visitors from Infosys quite often. Because I ran the whole organization, so you are talking about, when I left, Infosys had 170,000 people. And 170,000 people have left, right? Because people have joined and left. So because people will join and leave, right? So you are talking about 400,000 people who have actually worked with you. Right? Not 1 or 2 people. 170,000 worked with you the day you left. But 170,000 people have worked with you before. So you're talking about 400,000 people, and somebody will write to you saying that they want to come and say hello to you, and I will always meet them because this is the reason. I am a very, as I said, I'm a very disciplined person. So my involvement in Infosys stopped the day I left, other than being a shareholder and other activities. So after that, of course you think about Infosys, but the involvement is zero or almost nil. So you move on to other things in life, right? I have many other things in life. So I'm a very disciplined person. So I focus on what I need to do today, much more than what I did in the past.
Wonderful. Now I think one privilege, or rather one moment of happiness for this particular batch is to understand the enormity of the person sitting in front of you. Now, if you go to the internet and type his name, there will be thousands of things that you can read about. Probably he's among he's in the Forbes list. I mean, he's in Bloomberg. He's almost into everything that the world of business can talk about. And one of the main things that differentiates people like him from many others in this country is that the whole team at Infosys is extremely down to earth and humble. That is what I would like to quote as an example. Not in terms of size, absolutely sorry. Now, how do you assess the way technology has changed over the last maybe 2 decades? Because earlier, when you talked of technology, it was purely related to building software or coding or whatever. Now, how do you think that has changed over the last 2 decades?
So there are multiple ways to look at this, multiple ways to answer this question. So I will do it one way. There are many ways to look at it, but I will do it looking back at my life. It has changed. So when I joined Bombay Electric Supply and Transport, I joined a department called Electronic Data Processing. That was the department called Electronic Data Processing. So in 80s, when we talked about computer and technology and all that, it was about data. How do you process large amount of data? That was the whole thing. You have to process large amount of data, so you created this department called Electronic Data Processing, and that's what happened. Then came 90s, wherever I went, any company I met as a customer, they will talk about information technology. So we moved from data to information. So we became, what can we collect from the data? What is the output we can get from the, what information you can create from the data? So it shifted. Then came the world of insights. So when you do Amazon, when you go to Amazon and buy a book, they will tell you, your friend bought another book, so please buy this. So it is all insights. So you have moved from data to information to insight over the last 30, 35 years. And in the last 5 years, you are moving into intelligence. Right? You have autonomous driving cars. So I drive a car when I go to US. If I'm making a mistake, the car will prevent you from making a mistake. It is not like it's going to tell you, it is going to prevent you based on what the setting you have done. So you are slowly moving, you are moved from data to information to insight into intelligence. So when I look at technology for the next 20 years or so, 30 years, I think that the prevalence of intelligence will keep increasing. So especially in areas like automotives, areas like manufacturing, areas like healthcare, for example. Healthcare is a very, very good place where if you can increase the prevalence of intelligence. For example, we have very few doctors. So if you can actually augment their decision-making capability by building intelligence in the system, it will be phenomenal. Education, for example, we do online education, but we can do so many other things. You can really customize, personalize education using intelligence. So I think more than technology, the purpose of technology is what I talked about. We moved from data to information to insight to intelligence. I think that journey will continue for the next 2 decades.
Absolutely. Now, there was a mention about Mr. Shibulal being a technology freak or a gadget buff. Now, I heard that at some point of time, you had combined 2 devices together so that your daughter in US could view a serial at home here in India. Can you tell me something about that, please?
No, but please remember, that was when YouTube and all that was not there. Technology, the purpose of doing some of these things. I am a person who believes in, so you listen to my answer, right? I did not really answer about technology. I answered about the purpose of technology, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, when I look at technology, I usually look at how can I use it for a purpose. So my daughter was actually, daughter got educated there and she came back to India. So children, right, so what they miss is TV and things like that. That's their favorite thing. And so I wanted to make sure that she didn't miss it. So I don't know, these youngsters will not remember this. There was a product called TiVo, I think. It was called TiVo and I think these products have disappeared. You can combine some of these products. So I think it's more of a hobby where I can combine technologies and create something which will meet a purpose. I still can do it. And for fun, I will still do it. But it is about combining various technologies and creating something which is purposeful to my life.
Well, I've also read somewhere that at least once a week, I don't know, this is something that I have to hear from you. Yourself and Mr. Gopalakrishnan, both of you buy gadgets, dismantle them and try to reassemble them.
Yeah, so we do buy gadgets. Not once a week, but we do buy gadgets.
Okay.
We are known for having all the gadgets. It's more of a learning experience, right? Because these are things from which you can learn, you can understand, you can use it. Again, Chris and me, I use a lot of that knowledge for purpose. So how do you define new networks or new security protocol or both of us are still very technology oriented. So it is that curiosity I talked about. We are just curious. Right? That's what it finally it comes down to simple curiosity. So Chris actually called me up. I think he sent me a message a couple of days back saying that this Samsung has come out with this flip.
Yes.
Flip. So I have the version 1. So he told me he's going to buy the version 2. So there's a little bit of competition, right? So I have the version 1. So he's in Malaysia or something. He said, I'm getting version 2. So it is more curiosity how they have made it work. Because it's a foldable screen, right? When you open it, you can't make out. So how did they create the foldable screen? So it's all about curiosity.
I've also read that you made a siren in school so that nobody could enter your room and it would send out a buzzer.
That was when I was a kid. That's right. So this is what it is about. Now this is many years back because my master's is in electronics. But probably I got interested in electronics when I was very young. Again, these children won't remember, but there was a magazine called Science Today.
Yes.
Many years back.
Absolutely.
And anybody who is interested in science will stand in the queue and buy this magazine. So I used to do the same thing, take it home, and usually every month, there is only once a month, they will have a circuit which you can make. You can buy some parts and try to make it. So I used to try and do that. But all that is again, it all goes back to the sense of exploration and curiosity. So it's same thing, it's curiosity.
Okay, now I was once told by a student doing a CA articleship that if you want to learn something from the point of view of books of accounts, you have to look at an Infosys balance sheet. So has transparency been a core right from day one of forming the company?
Yeah. So Infosys believed in, so actually corporate governance, transparency, fairness, stakeholder equity, disclosure. Infosys, so please remember, we were a very small company. We were some $100 million of revenue. So when you're a $100 million revenue, really speaking, you are nobody. Right? Because you can't go to Europe and US and say, okay, we are from Infosys, we are $100 million, they are $10 billion, so you are some 1,000 times smaller. So we used corporate governance as a competitive advantage. Literally. So we said we will be the most transparent, we will have the highest level of disclosure, we will be honest, we will be fair, we will be merit-based, and we will have the highest levels of corporate governance. So in that, nobody could compete with us.
Absolutely.
Right? And when they look at a underdeveloped country, which we were in 80s, they were quite surprised that there is a company here which says that they are the highest levels of corporate governance. They are willing to compete with you, that is the $10 billion corporation, on the level on corporate governance. So it created a lot of respect. So I don't think that was the reason we did it. We wanted to be transparent, honest, fair and merit-based, but it eventually even became a competitive advantage. And so we were very transparent. We used to publish our balance sheet in 9 different languages. We used to publish it under Indian GAAP, US GAAP and the European standard. We used to have our results out by 15th of the quarter, that means 15 days. We used to have a set schedule for publishing balance sheet. We had won 10 years in a row the best balance sheet award. Finally, they said, we will give you a lifetime achievement award and so we can give it to somebody else. So we always kept very high levels of transparency.
What is your take on the present startup culture? One is, do you think it is more about a game of valuations, or do you think that there is something that the present generation is genuinely interested in as far as solving problems is concerned?
So I think, both are equally important in today's world. See, in the Infosys world, valuation was not that important in the beginning at least, because we were not public, we have no investor. In today's world, you have to do both. You have to perform, you have to, and the performance will lead to valuation. The problem starts when valuation is created without performance. So I think the good entrepreneurs do understand that they need to create performance-led valuation. So we invest, Axelor invests in, in various companies. So we tell them, we will monitor you on performance, not on valuation. Valuation will happen, but that is an effect. The cause has to be the performance.
Absolutely.
So we track their performance. So I think the intelligent entrepreneurs do understand that valuation without performance is hollow, it cannot sustain. Performance-led valuation is long-term and sustainable.
But in the quest for valuation, do you think something gets compromised?
In any case, in any journey, life is a set of compromises. But so I don't want to be very critical about it.
Fine.
The point is that the better entrepreneurs do understand the value of value system also, that they need to be honest and transparent in their performance so that the valuation can sustain. See, you have so many examples where things have failed. So the intelligent, good entrepreneurs and the good mentors, more than the young entrepreneurs, the good mentors do know that if you make compromises, there is a price to pay. So they guide them through the journey. The good ones do guide them through the journey. So I wouldn't say it's always a straight line, but the good ones take the straight line.
Okay. Now, one last question, or possibly the second last one before we wind up. There is a lot of activity happening from all the past founders of Infosys or the founders of Infosys in terms of giving back to the society, in terms of forming foundations or trusts. Now, could you tell us something about the Sarojini Damodar Foundation and the other things that you do in terms of education?
So, we started our foundation in 99, so it's about 23 years are over now. So we started our foundation in 99. Me and my wife, we are both products of the Kerala education system. And we did what we did in our life because of the higher education we got. Yes, every education is important, primary education, kindergarten, everything is important. But if you look at our life, higher education is what allowed us to get here. So we wanted to do something in higher education in 99. So we started, we had this idea. I have a very close friend in Alapi, Ramanand. He was the vice principal of SD College.
Yes.
So we were, three of us were brainstorming, and we came to this idea that we will start a small scholarship. So we went to TD school. I think somebody told me their family house is opposite TD school.
I told you.
You did. So we went to TD school, that's where I studied, and we said, give us 2 children and we will give them a scholarship after 10th. So we got 2 children. We started a scholarship in 99. So the next year, the 2 became 10, then it became 100. So over the years, the numbers went up. Today, we operate in 14 states. We get 60,000 applications for 1,500 seats. We get them after 10th. We take them and then they stay with us for 7 years. We have hundreds of doctors, engineers. The total number of children in the scholarship right now is 5,000, 4,900 something. We will add another 1,500 now, so it will go to 6,500 this year. And we have come a long way. So 14 states, 60,000 applications, test, interview, selection, and 7-year program. We also have partners who will come in and sponsor, so that also has happened. So in Kerala, we have one of the best partners in UST Global.
Okay.
They are one of our wonderful partners who support a lot of children on the platform. As a family, we do support a large number of children, but they also support. So we are wonderful partners. So that program is scaling, and that will scale. So that is one major activity of the foundation. Another one which we have is the Shiksha Lokam, which you talked about, because I wanted to do something for systemic change in education. And one of the big issues in school education, in K-12, is leadership. So we have a leadership development platform for K-12 leaders, government school leaders, not private school leaders, government school leaders, and government and semi-private school leaders. So that has been in operation for last 5 years. And we have about 3 lakh leaders on the platform. We mostly operate in North. So Punjab is a big state, Bihar is a big state. So one of the concepts we came up with is what we call micro improvements. Micro improvements. Because most government schools can't go in and say we will overnight change everything. It is not possible.
Correct.
So we wanted them to focus on small things. So we came up with this idea of micro improvements. So I just saw they sent me something saying that in the independent, I think in the last 2-3 days, government has announced something called Vidya Amarth. Vidya Amarth.
Okay.
I think this is linked to that. That is also micro improvements. We have actually, so our entire Shiksha Lokam platform is available as part of Diksha. So I think part of that, it has been now nationalized.
Do your children seek your support as far as business is concerned?
Yeah, they do. I have, they do.
They do that. So I wish, I could ask more questions, but because of paucity of time, I think we'll wind up here. So request you all to give a big round of applause to Mr. Shibulal for the way in which he has answered the questions. Thank you all once again.
Thank you.